Well, I thought I'd talk about a few things that every DIYer or woodworker could use. And these aren't tools, these are just really like supplies that you run out of and you kind of always will need. So what I'm going to do is just take some of the things that I used this week. I did some repairs around the barn this week and I did some work in my basement. And, uh, and any of these things I think anybody who's a DIY person can use. So right off the bat, wood glue. Everybody could use wood glue. I use Type Bond 2 wood glue, and you can find this in any hardware store or home store. Throwaway brushes. Everybody always could use throwaway brushes. This is one of those things. I generally like the 2-inch brush. I've got a 3-inch brush here, but I don't know why I bought that. But the 2-inch brushes I just think are real handy for putting spreading glue out or working with epoxy, things like that. I used caulk this week, and I always like to have a container of unopened caulk around, and I like PhenoSeal. This is something I've been using. I worked for a company called Sujan Construction, probably 30 years, 25 years ago maybe. And I remember when Jim showed me how to caulk, I thought, wow, that is like, makes everything look nice. So this is the brand I like. It's water soluble until it cures and it's paintable. So a container of caulk. And I'm going to be using caulk in the beginning of next year. I'll be doing a trim job in my house, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about some of the secrets of how to get a nice bead of caulk. Work gloves. Now, work gloves, most people don't use work gloves in the shop. It's really not safe to use gloves when you're working with machinery. But what I use the gloves for is when I'm going to the lumber yard, carrying plywood, things like that, or just work around the house. Demolition work, a pair of work gloves will really save your hands. This is something that I just bought this week. I'm surprised I didn't buy one sooner. This is a voltage detector, and this is just a really handy tool to have. And I think that if you have more than one of these, it's not a bad thing, because I could see having one out here in the barn, or if your shop is detached from your house, you'd have one in the shop and one in your house. And they're not that much. I think that this was like $6 or $7. This is for packing. This is that saran wrap that you can find in the hardware store. And I do use it for wrapping things like molding. If I'm making a lot of molding, I'll wrap the molding together and it just makes it easier to carry. But what I often use this for is wrapping it around paintbrushes to keep the brush from drying out in between coats. And it's really, really handy and really useful. These are are disposable rubber gloves. That's a good habit to get into, using rubber gloves, especially if you're using a solvent-based paint or finish. It's good to have these. I would say that this is my favorite paintbrush. This is a 2-inch nylon bristle paintbrush. It's a nylon and polyester bristle paintbrush. It has that little angle on it, and that just, for me, it just makes painting a pleasure. And I like to paint. The reason why I like to paint is you don't really have to think, and it's like a nice time to listen to a podcast or something like that. But the whole experience can be ruined if you're using a bad quality paintbrush. So I like the Benjamin Moore. This is the one I've been using now for a couple of years. I was using the Purdy. They sell that at not Benjamin Moore. They sell that at Lowe's and Home Depot, the Purdy brand paintbrushes. But I happen to like the Benjamin Moore brush a little bit better. And I guess a box of rags. Everybody can use a box of rags. And the last thing, this is something I used this week. I like to have a roll of tin foil around. I use this as a paint tray liner. And this is a very economical way to go, because if you buy tray liners, I think they're almost $2 a piece. And this is one of these gigantic rolls from Costco. This will probably last me a few years. So I will have pictures and all this stuff on my website. If you want to refer to that, you can probably, if you're doing your shopping, you can go to your phone and I'll have a picture and what these things are right there on the site. And I guess that's it. This is my last video. I'm not sure, I might do a video before 2016, but it's definitely my last video before Christmas, right? So, am I saying that right? Anyway, but I do want to, if it is my last video, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, subscribing, leaving comments. This has been such a great experience for me, making YouTube videos and sharing the videos with everybody out in the world and seeing other makers out in the world and being part of that community. It's such, I think they're great people, all the makers out there. I tune into all the guys and girls out there who are making videos each week, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really exciting to be part of that. And I know that there's an event in April, the Woodworking, I'm not sure if it's Woodworking in America, I'm not sure what it is, but it's something I'm really looking forward to going and finally meeting all of the other YouTube content creators out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, thanks again. Have a great holiday, and I'll see you soon.